What's up? I'm Lily. Revenge Crown brings you the stories that keep you hooked. If that sounds good, smash subscribe and let's go. Let me rewind to how I ended up at this moment, staring at my phone screen while my entire family watched me expectantly. It was Sunday dinner at my parents' house. My sister Rachel had just made her grand announcement. She was quitting her corporate job to become a life coach. No certification, no clients, no business plan. Just vibes and a dream. I'll need about $5,000 a month for the first year, Rachel said, not asking, just stating it as fact. Living expenses while I build my practice. Maybe more if I want to do that retreat in Bali for networking. Mom clasped her hands together. That's so brave, honey. Of course we'll support you. We. I asked. Dad looked at me like I'd said something offensive. The family account, Alex. That's what it's for. Supporting each other. The family account was something Mom had set up 5 years ago. She called it a shared investment fund where we'd all contribute and draw from as needed. Very communal. Very supportive. It's family money, Mom said firmly. Stop being difficult. Just transfer it, Dad added, already turning back to his dinner like the matter was settled. I opened my banking app and pulled up the account. Then I connected my phone to their TV, the nice 75-inch one I'd helped them buy 2 years ago. What are you doing? Rachel asked. Showing you whose money it really is. The account appeared on the screen. 5 years of transaction history. Let's review, I said, scrolling to the beginning. Month 1. Mom deposited $1,000 to start the account. Dad deposited $1,000. Rachel deposited $500. I deposited $2,000. Okay, so? Rachel shrugged. Month 2. Mom deposited $0. Dad deposited $0. Rachel deposited $0. I deposited $2,000. I kept scrolling, month by month, showing the same pattern. My $2,000 monthly deposits. Their occasional $100 here, $250 there, but mostly zeros. Over 5 years, I said, pulling up my summary spreadsheet. I've deposited $120,000. Mom has deposited $8,400. Dad has deposited $6,200. Rachel has deposited $3,100. The room had gone very quiet. But that's not the full story, I continued. Let's look at withdrawals. I switched screens. Rachel, you've withdrawn $47,300 for your apartment when you moved, for your car when it broke down, for that Europe trip, for your emergency root canal, for the 12 other emergencies you've had. Rachel's face had gone pale. Mom, you've withdrawn $31,200. New furniture. The kitchen renovation you said you'd pay me back for. Dad's surprise birthday trip to Scotland. Mom started to speak. I held up my hand. Dad, you've withdrawn $18,900. Your golf club membership. The boat you owned for 8 months. Various tools and equipment. I pulled up the final summary. Combined family withdrawals, $97,400. My withdrawals, $0. Current account balance, $61,847. Percentage funded by me, 87.3%. Dad stared at the screen. That can't be right. I have 5 years of bank statements, every deposit notification, every transfer receipt. I pulled out my phone. Want me to forward them to you? Alex, this is inappropriate, Mom said, her voice tight. You're keeping score of helping your own family? I'm not keeping score. I'm showing you reality. You called this family money, but 87% of it is my money that I've been depositing while living in a studio apartment to save. Rachel found her voice. You never said anything? You never told us you were paying for everything. Would it have mattered? Would you have contributed more? Or would you have just felt entitled to keep withdrawing? Silence. Here's what's really interesting, I continued. Every time one of you needed money, it was an emergency. Rachel's car, Mom's kitchen, Dad's boat. But when I mentioned wanting to buy a condo 2 years ago, you all said I should wait, that I wasn't ready, that I should keep building my savings. We were trying to help you make good decisions, Dad said weakly. No. You were trying to keep your emergency fund liquid. My emergency fund. That I was supposed to keep accessible for your emergencies. I disconnected my phone from the TV. So here's what's going to happen. I am removing my access to this account. The $61,847 that's left. It's yours. Split it however you want. But I'm done depositing into it. You can't do that. Rachel stood up. I've already quit my job. I'm counting on this money. You're counting on my money. Money I never agreed to give you for a life coaching business. Mom's face had turned red. This is selfish, Alex. We're your family. Family takes care of each other. You're right. Family does take care of each other. For 5 years, I took care of you to the tune of $120,000. Now it's your turn to take care of yourselves. But what about Rachel? Mom gestured at my sister. She's made plans. Based on my money. Plans I was never consulted about. She quit her job assuming I'd fund her career change. That's not family support. That's financial entitlement. Dad set down his fork carefully. Son, I think you're overreacting. So you've contributed more. That's because you make more. That's what family does. Those who have more help those who have less. Dad, you and Mom both still work. You make a combined $140,000 a year. Rachel made $65,000 before she quit. I make $95,000. I'm not some wealthy benefactor. I'm a data analyst who lives in 600 square feet and drives a 2016 Civic. But you're single, Rachel said. You don't have expenses like we do. Right, I'm single. So I should fund your life, Mom and Dad's lifestyle upgrades, and never build anything for myself? That's the deal? Mom stood up. If you leave now, don't expect us to be here when you change your mind. Family isn't something you can just walk away from. You're right. But being your family's ATM. That I can walk away from. Get out, Mom said coldly. If money is more important to you than family, then leave. This was never about money being more important than family. This was about family treating me like money was my only value. I walked out. My phone exploded before I reached my car. Rachel, 6:47 p.m. You just humiliated me in front of everyone. How could you? Mom, 6:52 p.m. Your father and I are deeply hurt. Don't contact us until you're ready to apologize. Dad, 7:03 p.m. Very disappointed in your behavior tonight. Son, I drove home in silence and sat in my car outside my apartment building for 20 minutes shaking, not from regret. From relief. For 5 years, I'd been contributing $2,000 monthly to an account I rarely touched. Watching my family withdraw tens of thousands while I lived small and saved nothing for myself. I'd been saving for their emergencies instead of my future. The next morning, I called my bank manager, Stephen Reeves. Stephen, I need to close my access to a joint account and transfer some funds. Which account? I gave him the details. I want to close my link to it, but leave the remaining balance for the other account holders. Alex, if you're the primary account holder, which according to my records you are, you can close the entire account and transfer all funds to your personal account. It's your legal right. I considered this. The $61,847 sitting there. Legally mine. No, I said finally. Leave it for them. I just want out. You're being very generous. I'm being done. There's a difference. Stephen processed everything. By noon, I had no access to the family account, and they had no access to my accounts. My phone had been buzzing all morning. I finally looked at the messages. Rachel, 8:15 a.m. Mom and Dad looked at the account. You really did pay for almost everything. I didn't realize. Rachel, 8:47 a.m. But that doesn't give you the right to abandon me like this. Mom, 9:23 a.m. We need to discuss this like adults. You can't just cut off your family. Dad, 10:11 a.m. Called the bank. They say you closed your access. We need to talk. I responded once. I contributed $120,000 over 5 years to a family account you all withdrew from freely. I'm done contributing. The remaining $61,847 is yours. I wish you well. The response was immediate. Rachel, $61,000 isn't enough for a year. You know my expenses? Mom, after everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us. I turned off my phone. That week, I met with a financial advisor, something I'd been putting off because I needed to maintain the family account balance. You're 32 with $48,000 in personal savings, she said, reviewing my accounts. That's good, but you should have more given your income and how long you've been working. I was contributing $2,000 monthly to a family fund. For how long? 5 years. She calculated quickly. That's $120,000 in contributions. If you'd invested that in index funds 5 years ago, you'd have approximately $175,000 right now. The number hit me like a punch. Going forward, she continued, let's set up automatic investments. $2,000 monthly into your retirement accounts and taxable brokerage. I should have done this 5 years ago. You're doing it now. That's what matters. 1 week after the dinner, my phone had been mostly quiet. Then Uncle Mike called Ad's brother. Alex, your dad told me what happened. I braced myself. He said you've been funding the family account almost entirely for 5 years and finally cut them off. That's accurate. Good for you. I nearly dropped my phone. What? Your dad told the story like you were the villain. So I asked questions. How much had you contributed? How much had they withdrawn? When I heard the numbers, I told him he should be ashamed. You did? Alex, I've watched your parents enable Rachel for years. And I've watched you work hard and live modestly. What you did setting that boundary, that took courage. We talked for over an hour. He told me stories about my father's own entitlement issues, about patterns in the family I'd never seen. Not everyone is going to understand, Uncle Mike said. But the people who matter will. 2 weeks after the dinner, Rachel texted. I went back to my old job. They let me withdraw my resignation. I'm not ready to be a life coach. I don't even know what that means, really. I just thought it would be easy with your support. That was stupid. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. I'm glad you're making decisions based on reality. Good luck. 1 month after the dinner, I signed a lease on a 1-bedroom apartment with a real bedroom and a home office. Not luxury, but an upgrade I'd been delaying. My parents sent a card. Inside, Mom had written, Your father and I have reviewed the account statements. We didn't realize the imbalance. We thought everyone was contributing equally. We should have paid attention. We should have asked if you were okay. We're sorry. No mention of wanting reconciliation. No demands, just acknowledgement. I put it in a drawer. 3 months after the dinner, my savings account had grown by $6,000. Money that would have gone to the family account was now building my future. I'd started seeing someone I met at a work conference. Her name was Jennifer, and when I told her about my family situation, she said, You gave them $120,000 and they called you selfish. That's not a family problem. That's a them problem. 6 months after the dinner, Rachel sent a photo. Her and her fiancé, looking happy, getting married in the spring. Small ceremony, you're invited if you want to come. No pressure. No gift expected. I just wanted you to know. I looked at the photo for a long time. My sister smiling, looking more grounded than I'd seen her in years. Congratulations. Send me the details. 1 year after the dinner, I sat in my apartment reviewing my finances. Retirement accounts. $37,000, growing steadily with my $2,000 monthly contributions. Personal savings. $62,000. Total. $99,000 in 1 year. In 1 year of not funding my family, I'd saved almost as much as I'd given them in 5. My phone rang. Dad, I answered. Alex, how are you? I'm good, Dad. You? Your mother and I are doing well. Working on our budget. It's been eye-opening. He paused. I called because I wanted to tell you something. That night, when you showed us all those numbers, I was angry. I thought you were being cruel. I know, but you weren't. You were being honest. We'd been taking from you for years and calling it family support. We'd convinced ourselves everyone was contributing equally because we wanted it to be true. Dad, let me finish. You were right. We treated you like an ATM. We assumed you'd always be there to bail us out. That wasn't fair. That wasn't love. That was exploitation with a family label. I felt something loosen in my chest. Thank you for saying that. Will you come to Rachel's wedding? I'm planning on it. Good. We'd like to see you. No expectations, no requests. Just Dot. We'd like to see our son. I went to the wedding. It was small, simple, and genuinely happy. Rachel looked beautiful. Her fiancé looked at her like she was everything. At the reception, she pulled me aside. Thank you for coming. Of course. I mean it. After everything, you still showed up. She looked down. I've been in therapy, working on a lot of stuff. My therapist asked me once how much money I thought was reasonable to accept from a sibling. Rachel, I'm not apologizing because I'm still processing, but I wanted you to know I get it now. What I took from you. What we all took from you. 2 years after the dinner, I sat on the balcony of my apartment, drinking coffee and watching the sunrise. My retirement accounts, $74,000. My savings, $98,000. My peace of mind, priceless. My relationship with my family had slowly rebuilt. Not like it was before, better, clearer, with actual boundaries. Mom texted occasionally. Updates about her life, never requests for money. Dad and I talked on the phone monthly. Surface stuff mostly, but real. Rachel and I were rebuilding, slowly, carefully. They'd learned to function without my money. I'd learned my worth wasn't measured in deposits. My phone buzzed. Jennifer, coffee later? Absolutely. I looked out over the city, at my life that was finally mine, built on my terms with my money. I'd given my family $120,000 over 5 years. They'd called it family money. I'd shown them whose money it really was. And in doing so, I'd found something more valuable than any account balance. My freedom. The sun rose higher, the city woke up. And I sat in the peace I'd bought by finally saying no. It had cost me $120,000 and 5 years to learn that lesson. But it had saved my future. And I'd never regret that.